Hello friend and welcome to Borgcast Animated Series 2.2 with Ambry, Peter and Lila.
In a very hot trajectory. Oh boy, we're melting again.
I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world!
Crazy summer this year.
Yes.
Tonight we are covering BEM. Written by David Gerald, aka the writer of Trouble with Tribbles, and the animated series is More Tribbles, More Troubles. Unbelievably, he pitched this script for season 3 of the original series.
Wow.
I mean, can you imagine how they'd have brought this to the screen?
No idea. Badly?
Badly, yes, I think it's fair to say. He was talking about two people in a suit with a small person on the shoulders of a larger person. Yeah. It would have been like Dobbin from Rent-A-Ghost or the Merker all over again.
The thing about Dobbin from Rent-A-Ghost, though, was it was supposed to be a pantomime horse.
Yes, it fulfilled that particular brief, didn't it? Whereas the Merker was supposed to be a scary monster
And it wasn't.
and looked like a pantomime horse.
Yes.
I can't think of a single example when anybody's tried this and it has worked, personally, but there we go. No. So just as well it went to the animated series.
Yeah, because the only other thing is comedy with Muppet Man, isn't it?
It would have been Muppet Man. That's it, Bem is Muppet Man. It all makes sense now.
I can't believe I fell for Muppet Man.
Yeah, if they got Jim Henson involved, I suppose they could have made it work, but he wasn't really doing anything other than the Muppets at this point, so yeah.
Captain's log, stardate 7403.6. The Enterprise is on a series of exploratory and contact missions. Traveling with us as an independent observer is a member of a recently contacted alien species. Honorary Commander Ari Ben Bem is from the planet Pandro in the Garo 7 system. We have taken up orbit around Delta Theta 3, a newly discovered Class M planet. A previous scouting mission has reported possible aboriginal life forms here, and the Enterprise is to investigate and report.
Ben is an honorary commander from...
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? What the hell's an honorary commander? I mean, you're either a commander or you're not.
Well, no, it's honorary because they are not part of Starfleet.
Yeah,
They're
so
from
they shouldn't be
Pandora.
a commander in Starfleet then. You can't be an honorary commander, I'm sorry.
You can be an honorary priest in charge. Why can't you be an honorary commander?
Okay, now you're going to have to explain to everybody what honorary priest in charge is, you realise, which is really going to thrill everybody.
A priest in charge is running...
I mean, that's obvious. That makes sense. An honorary priest in charge.
So an honorary priest in charge is either somebody who isn't paid, or it's somebody who has... a bit like somebody might describe themselves as an honorary treasurer of organisation. They have temporarily taken on a role that they are not intending to stick at full time.
Well,
nowadays, we use the term interim. But
Yes.
The old-fashioned term was honorary. And
The latter makes some sense, but the former doesn't, because you're either in charge or you're not. There's you can't...
Yeah, but you could argue that either you're a treasurer or you're not, but it tends to be used honorary treasurer as somebody who's saying, I don't want to be officially the treasurer, I'm only covering for a certain amount of time. So they're not going to be...
No, that's a bit different to in charge, isn't it?
Yeah, but a commander isn't in charge, the captain is. Honorary commander...
It just about works when you've got a captain about, I grant you that, but ultimately the commander is the next rank down.
Yes, but...
An honorary lieutenant I could probably swallow.
But that might not have been giving a sufficient status. Think about the episode of DS9 we just watched. Kira has been given this Starfleet commission and made a commander. She hasn't worked her way through the ranks to get there. It's about the status she has as a Bajoran officer and translating it into Starfleet. So whatever Bem has on Pandorel, they are translating that.
I would argue, because in the same way, and I wish we could tell you what episode this was, and I guess we're already going to have to get Editing Peter in to do this. And that episode is When It Rains, which I rather wish it would. But the bottom line is that, as Anne-Marie said, it's the episode when Kira goes to train the Cardassians how to do terrorism, basically. And it's brilliant. I've forgotten just how good those last episodes of Season 7 Deep Space Nine are, because it doesn't start as bad as I remember it starting, actually, to be fair. But boy, does it go into another gear at that point. But anyway, the reason why she's commander is because it's the equivalent rank to what she was in the Bajora militia, which was colonel. So if this Bem fellow has got a rank in whatever military they've got,
so. That's why.
But it shouldn't be honorary then. It'll just be he'll be commander, Bem.
Well, no, but it can't be, because there is no real treaty between Pandorel, and it's not. And it's just
Pandorel just makes me think of some sort of what's Canderel?
Yes, that's what I'm going to as well. Isn't it fake sugar?
Yes, it is a fake sugar. Every time they say Pandorel, I'm thinking, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So the point is, the reason it's honorary is it's not a full commission; it's an honorific title. So
anyway,
it's giving them a title to reflect their status. It doesn't mean that they can actually be in charge of things.
Well, in the event, it doesn't matter anyway, because he doesn't exactly conform to any chain of command. He just bogs off and does his own thing.
Yes.
He is Ari Ben Bem, not to be confused with Ari Ben Zane, who was George Martin's son in Babylon 5.
Yeah.
The reason why he's Bem is it stands for Bug-Eyed Monster.
Oh.
Which he actually isn't.
No, he hasn't got bug eyes.
No, but he does. I think he looks a bit like a pug.
A green pug?
Yes, a green pug. It's the
no,
nose.
it reminds me... It's sort of... bloody mozzie. Sort of Dr. Zeus-ish.
Okay, well, the green certainly is, yes.
Yeah.
I can see that. The Grinch, yes.
Yes, sort of ish. I mean, only ish, but yeah.
His species will be back in Lower Decks Season 2, I Excretius. And originally he was written as a practical joker rather than an observer with an unusual technique. But it's just as when they went for the latter, because the next episode features, a practical joker. So that would have been a bit weird, wouldn't it? I think the design looks good when he's in one piece.
Yeah.
It's quite a good alien design until his head starts floating around.
Yeah.
The voice isn't great. I mean, you can guess who's done the voice, and mainly you can guess who's done the voice because it sounds just like Arex.
Yeah.
So, and the fact we've got Arex in this episode as well does really highlight that.
Yeah.
He didn't really try for this one, did he?
No, and the thing is, you get Emrys in the background in one scene. It would have been better if Emrys was the one doing whatever it is Arex is doing, and Arex was in the background. But anyway. So, Bem says this one, which is how they refer to themselves, presumably non-binary, which makes sense for a collective life form.
Yes.
Kirk and Spock use he, him, because when this is written, they wouldn't have had the words for non-binary pronouns.
Yes, I can't remember.
But when
what
it's set, of course, they will have done.
I can't remember what they do with Lower Decks now, because it presents more as female in the one in Lower Decks, doesn't it? So, yeah, interesting.
Anyway, that's how they refer to themselves, is this one.
I'm sure they say this one in Lower Decks as well.
Yeah. Anyway, Bem has basically been in their quarters up until now and suddenly decided to accompany them when they're supposed to be on an observing mission.
What they've been doing all this time, we don't want to know.
Yeah.
Which other bits come off? We were lucky we didn't see any floating penises at any point.
Detachable penis like an octopus, or is it a nautilus? I don't know. Anyway, it's sort of, this one remains adamant and just insistent that they want to go down. Anyway, I like Kirk saying that this planet could be dangerous, and you can understand this from Kirk's perspective.
Yes.
This is kind of like this is an exchange. There's a lot of diplomatic stuff here, and Kirk does not want this. I know that they're an honorary commander and not an ambassador, but it's kind of the same situation, if you see what I mean, that you've got to protect them.
Yes, and he makes it clear throughout that he's trying to maintain relationships with the Candrelians or whatever they were.
Yeah, with the artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
But it's like, the planet could be dangerous, and I like Bem's response. Every planet is dangerous to the ignorant.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Turns out he's pretty ignorant. So.
Yeah, they are. And then Bem says, Oh, I've put all in the coordinates already, and then it says Mr. Scotty. I like
Yeah,
that.
Mr. Scotty.
Mr. Scotty.
Oh.
They beam down and immediately Kirk...
Oh, by the way, we saw Pringle's Mr. Kyle in the background in the transporter room, which is nice.
Pringle's Mr. Croc. What?
Kyle, the transporter chief.
Yes.
Yeah. He was right at the beginning of the animated series. He came back, set his voice by Duran, needless to say, and he suddenly had a moustache, which he keeps for Wrath of Khan, which is a nice bit of continuity that I'm not sure they actually planned. But anyway. But yeah, he does appear in the transporter room, which is nice.
Okay. They beam down, but right on the edge of a cliff, which results in Spock and Kirk falling in the water.
He's fallen in the water.
Yeah, and then Bem says assistance is offered, goes to help them, but separates in two. This is the first time you see it, and their legs go ahead and then
Grow hands.
At least you assume it's hands.
Yeah. Is he like Londo?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And picks their pockets.
You see, this kind of works for me because he's in water, so there's buoyancy and stuff. So the fact that the torso is floating separately to the legs doesn't bother me in a way it does bother me later on where his head just literally floats around. It's like, how is this happening? Is his head full of helium or something?
He's like a R2 with a little jetpack at the bottom.
Yeah, well, if there'd been a jets coming off it, at least that would have explained it, but we don't get that.
Yeah. Uhura reports that there is an unusual anomaly on the planet.
Uhura's in command.
Yes.
For only the second time in the history of Trek, and it's the second time in the animated series, of course.
Yes.
Following on from the Lorelei signal.
She reports an unusual anomaly that resembles a sensor net. So Kirk says, right, watch it, keep an eye on it, yellow alert. He's already said that he doesn't want anybody taking unnecessary risks. If there's a problem, he wants everyone to beam up. Mm-hmm. They're in a rainforest.
And specifically, he makes that clear to Scotty as well, ironically.
They're in a rainforest.
It looks beautiful. I think the animation, as per usual, is...
I think we've seen
in terms
this
of the
rainforest.
backgrounds.
I think we've seen this rainforest before.
No, they're new every time. These backgrounds are beautiful. So colourful. I mean, lots of purples as well. I mean, unfortunately, the fact the backgrounds are always so ornate and fantastic does throw into sharp relief how primitive the animation, the rest of the animation is.
They're being watched by a large group of life forms. Bem runs off, so Spock and Kirk chase them. And this is the point where there's obstacles in the way, so Bem's head detaches
and
floats off. And it's the...
and an arm floats off.
Yeah.
It's just, how's that happening? I say, we find out later he's a colony being, so fair enough, he's made up of separate beings. That's okay, but how do they float? That doesn't make any... Give them wings, maybe, but they don't have that.
I don't know.
Literally, the only explanation I think of is they're full of helium, so they float as a result of that. And if, as and when they're not attached to the rest of the body, they could potentially float away.
There is what Spock describes as these alien aborigines, as they call them.
Lizards.
Yeah. As a native food gathering party.
Yes.
I'm like, what
Well, they've got shopping bags, that's why.
Ain't no party like a food gathering party. I mean, I don't know. It's just bizarre. But the food is Bem, which is not good. Meanwhile, the sensory anomaly is expanding, and the captain is not responding to his communicator, because, of course, Bem's half-inched it. They can't detect the captain, and this is where you see him rest in the background. And so Uhura says, I'm beaming you up. And Scotty's like, oh, but we can go and find him. And Uhura's like, no, you're beaming up. This is what we were told. This is
She goes all Ripley, which I love.
It's brilliant.
Because she's, by the book, doing the right thing, ensuring that people are safe.
Yeah.
This is, again, I just love the fact that we do occasionally get her in command in the animated series. Such a shame we didn't get to see it in the original series, but there we go.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the ground, Spock and Kirk discover that their comms are fakes, and so are their phasers.
It's a fake.
And then, but they feel that they have to follow Bem anyway, because despite the fact that they have clearly nicked the phasers and the communicators and replaced them, their dilemma seems real, so they feel obliged, but they're going to have to wait till nightfall. Then Bem complains that Spock and Kirk are interfering with their observations. Being captured seemed a fairly convenient way of doing the observations. It seems daft to me. But then the lizards appear with flaming torches and make a ridiculous noise.
Yes.
So the next thing you know, Kirk and Spock are also caged. Although the cages are made of wood and don't look very...
No, it looks like one good breath and they're full apart.
Well, not only that, later on you get, what was it, why didn't you do a nerve pinch or something to Spock? And I'm thinking, Spock's supposed to be really strong because he's a Vulcan. How is he not
just break it
busted
open,
out?
I should think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just looks like it's made of bamboo
Wicker.
cages. Yeah.
Wicker cages.
Oh, they're the wicker men.
Yes.
And then Bem says that they were told that Kirk was the best captain in the fleet, and that's clearly not the case if he needs his equipment. And Bem does not condemn the use of casual violence, but says to Kirk, "You may demean yourself. You can have your face. You can do
Yeah, please don't tell Kirk that. I mean, you know, next thing you know, you'll be doing horsey impressions at the drop of a hat.
No, don't."
There's a revolutionary sweetener that tastes as good as sugar. Canderel Spoonful. It contains NutraSweet, so it has no bitter aftertaste. Just like sugar. And because it's granular, you sprinkle it in just the same quantity as sugar. Canderel Spoonful. The revolutionary sweetener that tastes as good as sugar.
So he hands over the phasers, then Bem does another split and returns Kirk and Spock's equipment. Turns out he's a colony creature, and he could have got out at any time, but wanted Kirk to prove himself by rescuing him. What, by splitting up just as he did? I mean, that's not really fair, is it?
No.
The captain objects to being a lab rat and arrests Bem from behind a cage. Yeah, okay. The Sensory Anomaly now covers half the planet, we're told, and Scotty clichédly puts it, the Loch Ness Monster couldn't get through that. Oh.
Does say it better than that, though.
Oh, but he may as well have done it in that crap Scottish accent.
We're doomed.
The lizards spot Kirk and Co escaping and give chase, and then the away team go to stun them. Nichelle Nichols tells them not to. Yes, Nichelle Nichols just apparently is God in this episode, which I'm all for, personally.
Yeah.
And she paralyses them, making the animator's job a lot easier. Although their mouths still move, at least. Yes, well, the inclusion of yet another godlike alien to the story came from a suggestion by, can you guess?
Gene Roddenberry.
Yep, the man was obsessed, I tell you. Kirk introduces himself to Nichols, and we have Gerald to thank for making Tiberius Kirk's middle name. Apparently he'd been watching a lot of I, Claudius.
Oh.
So there you go. Could have been worse. He could have been watching something else with naff names. I'm trying to think of an example now.
Captain Pugwash?
Yes, he could have been watching a lot of Captain Pugwash, in which case he would have been masturbates or something. But anyway. The lizards are Nichelle's children. Oh, she has lizards. And she objects to Kirk and Co testing them, understandably. I've had a lot of beer, by the way, and it's very hot. So, yes, my coherence is going to drop even further. Their phasers are removed, and the lizards capture them. Kirk reflects he would rather be a librarian. Ook. I mean, it's a bit random, isn't it? But anyway... Bem writes Kirk off as a failure and does his splits again to leave his cage, refusing to free the others. What a jerk. Kirk attempts to hail Nichelle Nichols, despite the fact that she's a godlike alien and therefore he just shouts, to be honest. She's going to hear, isn't she?
Yeah. But they have this thing where they sort of put one communicator behind the other one, and somehow that's brilliant or something.
Yes, they put them in series, which means somehow magically Spock glues them together. Perhaps he had some blue tack on him or something. And yeah, that makes him twice as powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
It shouldn't work, but it does. Kirk apologises to Nichelle Nichols and says he will tell others not to come back, and for the return of Bem, he asks. Or even he asks for the return of Bem.
Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you?
When Nichelle can't detect him for some reason, she's obviously not that godlike, rather than beaming
Well,
up...
maybe Bem has split up and he's too small.
Don't know. Rather than Beaming up as she asks, Kirk then tells the Enterprise to beam down a security squad. What an idiot. Scotty and 3 red shirts beam down and search for Bem. The lizards attack, the away team fire, and Nichelle does, well, nothing until they've stunned all the lizards. Kirk explains he couldn't leave the shamed Bem there, as he might interfere with her children. Ew. And she's cool with that, understandably. She talks Bem out of disassembling himself, as he won't learn from his lesson if he's dead or something, whatever he means by disassembling. I mean, I presume that just means he goes into different parts, but... Ew.
I don't know, because you don't know how their society works, so you don't know whether Bem is a particular collection, and so the parts will then join with other new parts, and a new collection will be formed, but it won't be Bem, and therefore won't have the collective memory of Bem.
Yes. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah. Anyway, Kirk quarantines the planet and gets a blessing from Nichelle. Aww. So here we go. Is this cannonballs or Spock's balls?
Rock on, Tommy, you'll do for me.
His brain is gone.
It's become canon because of Lower Decks.
In terms of Bem itself, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the visuals are absolutely insane, are they not?
Yes. Yeah.
And it could only have been done in animation, I'm sorry.
We don't want Muppet Man.
And Bem is a pretty nuts character as well.
Yeah.
Although, again, that apparently is... Candarellians are all like that, apparently, because that's like the one in Lower Decks, you remember? Yeah. Testing everybody.
Yes.
But, I mean, what draws this back from being balls is that the message is very Trek.
Yes.
You know, don't non-interference. Everybody does a learn, including Bem. It felt very Trek at the same time as seeming very silly.
Yes.
Because Bem's just mad.
Bem is mad. And the idea, just as you said, you know, separating out and then the head floating. Yeah. Because the head
and
has
it literally
jetpacks.
just looks like they've taken the they've just taken the animation cells and floated them independently, which, you know, is easy to do, but looks rubbish.
Doesn't make any sense. It's just so surreal.
I mean, why they're not blood pouring out, or I don't know. Just
well, if it's a collective being, then it's a being in
sort
and of
sealed
itself
off,
and sealed off, or can be sealed off.
Yeah.
So
perhaps it's one of those transformer combiners that are made up of several transformers. I wonder if Llama will go there.
Possibly. But if you had a transformer combiner, would they all be able to float in the air independently?
No, they wouldn't. That's just it. Well, they would, but then they'd be the separate robots, is the point.
Right.
Yeah, and they all got arms and legs, so they can walk around, so that's not an issue.
Yeah.
Whereas he's got a floaty head for no good reason.
Yeah, they...
I mean, you don't get Transformers with floaty heads, I don't think, unless you count... Oh, what were those? The Quintessons, which were effectively floaty heads.
Right. Okay, maybe that's what...
Perhaps Transformers make sense of this episode. We will find out, I'm sure.
Yes. And I don't have a problem with the idea that Bem is a collective being and that they can separate. I mean, I find it very amusing to watch, particularly what we now think is a Centauri style 2 prehensile penises nicking the communicators and stuff. But
I do hope they wipe those communicators down afterwards.
Is that why they stuck together?
Oh! Oh, Captain, I did not need any glue. Strange.
So yeah, I think that's interesting and that's different, but yeah, just the each separate bit must somehow have its own jetpacks or something.
Yeah.
That doesn't...
Or floaty abilities.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I can't remember how we used to define these things. That's the awful thing. But I think this is probably Spock's balls, isn't it? Because it's on the level of Spock's brain in terms of silliness.
Yeah.
But it's clearly canon. It fits in, so it's Spock's balls.
Yeah.
Spock's sweaty balls, as it would be today.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Well, we've spoken about him already. Let's hear what Llama actually thought, and whether he does indeed refer to the combiners.
Longboats log, Scott Lake, Fickesy Shear, Shack, Shear. You're tearing me apart, Misa. Now, every good episode of Star Trek asks a question, poses a question about our very existence and life and everything, and this episode asks the question, just what the fuck? What the fuck is this? I mean, what? I mean, okay, yes, that is a question, and as I'm often saying about the animated series, this certainly is something you couldn't have done in live action, or at least not particularly well anyway, especially on the 1960s budget. And to be fair, I think they'd have struggled to have done this in the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine as well. So yeah, this is certainly an interesting episode, isn't it? The character of Bem and the Pandronians in general are certainly a very interesting idea. The idea of colony creatures, or gestalts, as Transformers fans might have it. An idea where an individual's consciousness is in fact a collection of consciousnesses. And yeah, this is certainly a very good science fiction idea. The only real problem with this idea really in this episode is the way that it's executed, when Bem splits himself apart and just kind of floats all over the place. And I really, really like the visuals. It's ridiculous, but I love the visuals of his lower torso detaching and having actual little hands pop out. That's wonderful. Would have liked to see more of that, you know, with his like torso wandering around with little hands and feet, and you know, his head wandering around on little legs. Instead, no, because it's filmation animation, no, they're just going to have his head just floating around and his torso floating around independently. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame they couldn't do more than that, but you know, I guess it's a kid's cartoon, so what are you going to do? But as I say, the actual central idea behind it about what makes up consciousness, what makes up the self, that's a really, really interesting idea and something to pursue, and I'm sure a lot of science fiction novels asked it, and this episode really doesn't, unfortunately. Apart from the whole idea of his very fate at the very end, wherein he's not allowed to combine those particular parts again. No one's going to be killed, but just those individual elements won't be able to combine again into the same colony that will have the Bem identity. But they will exist. That's a really interesting idea. Again, are they still conscious of the same person? What sort of punishment is it? You know, that's a really nice, interesting idea, and I'd love to have seen something more done with it in somewhere in Star Trek. I mean, I know we do see another Pandronian in Lower Decks. Yes, I actually had that one. I completely forgot that episode. I remember the holodecks bits, but I forgot about who was actually doing it. But yeah, it would be nice to have seen this in some other Star Trek episode, because there are much, much deeper themes in here that could have done with investigating, and it's a shame that we don't, but never mind. At least we get to see something that's a little bit different and couldn't be done in live action, so that's something. But other than that, this is a kind of typical Star Trek plot, really, and that some diplomat comes in and fucks everything up by interfering. So yeah, that's basically it. The only difference this time, of course, is that they get captured by giant humanoid lizards, because it's a kid's cartoon, so what else are you going to do? And that makes for some pretty interesting visuals. If nothing else, at least they're not on the same standard planet stage set that they would have used in season 3 of Star Trek, so yeah, it's better than that anyway. And of course, on top of that, we have the Enterprise crew being tested by Bem as well, because why not? It's Star Trek, isn't it? The crew always have to be tested to prove their own worth and all of that, so yeah, sure, why not? And of course, they're doubly tested because it turns out there is an actual alien intelligence on the planet, but it's not the one that's doing the testing, so extra Trek. This is probably about as Trek as you can get in an episode. The only thing that would have made it more Trek would be if they had to deliver supplies to a colony that had some sort of illness or something. Yeah, apart from that, yeah, this is pretty Trek. The only other real issue I have with the episode is the fact that when the alien intelligence does talk to them and Kirk pleads for their freedom and he gives his reasoning, he says, oh yeah, we're not going to interfere, we won't do any harm, and the first thing he does is go and try to make harm. I don't know whether the alien intelligence had slapped them down at that point rather than waiting for a little while to do it. But yeah, other than that, this is fine. As episodes of the animated series go, this is fine. It's got a nice idea, it's interesting, it's slightly different, sure. I think the only problem I really have with this episode is how many times do we have to see the Enterprise fly past that same green planet very, very slowly. I mean, talk about padding, blimey. But yeah, other than that, a pretty decent episode. Is it canon or is it balls? I mean, come on, this is a very alien, strange new life form that we see introduced in the Pandronians, so yeah, it's canon, it's got to be canon because it's something different, even if we don't really see them again, even in Lower Decks, which, as I say, does disappoint me they never did anything more with it in other shows, but there we are. So, as ever, I've been trying to find out what everyone else made of this rather interesting episode. I hope that everyone else is managing to keep it together in these times, eh? And until next time, cry to you and your guest.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think the reason it took Lower Decks to do this again is because Lower Decks was animation.
Yes.
I just think that even if somebody had considered it, showrunners at the time would have gone, no, not Muppet Man.
Partly, but also it looks so silly it would only have worked in Lower Decks as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they did.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, it is a good sci-fi idea as a gestalt entity, but it's not executed very well.
Not brilliantly, no.
No.
But he did reference Transformers as predicted.
Yes.
But yes, Kirk immediately disobeying Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
He should have got more of a kick up the ass for that, basically. But no, he gets away with it. I thought it was much less padded than the last episode.
Yes.
I mean, yes, okay, there are a few flyby scenes, but that's okay. I can live. There were in the original series, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it was never at the point where I was going, come on, let's
not like
move
the
on
very slow sideways evasive manoeuvres.
Yes.
Last time, that was just ridiculous.
Or the, long lingering shots of an empty freighter.
Oh.
Yeah, that didn't work so well. Oh, somebody's making a lot of noise tonight. Hello, Lila. Right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's find out what the Pie Man thought. What dangerous location is he in now?
Hello, Orgs. Parry here to talk about BEM. Now, this episode is one that sort of got referred back to in Lower Decks. We got another one of BEM's race appearing in an episode. And yes, the concept of a kind of being that's made up of multiple beings is quite fun. Yes, they use it for sort of comedy hijinks, and they said that his head can float off, his legs can not only run away but sprout weird creepy arms out the back as well, all that sort of stuff, and that everything apparently flies as well. It's not like his head falls off and walks on little legs, it just floats, which I presume was easier to animate. But yeah, the problem is Bem's an absolute dick. And that's sort of, it's almost like we're watching a normal episode of Trek. They're going to go and tag they used Aboriginals a lot, but they're tagging the local population on a very primitive planet. And it goes wrong and they end up captured and recaptured and recaptured. They get captured a lot in this. The only difference is in this one, the fault is largely Bem luring them into trouble and then seemingly testing them in some way, shape or form. And being a bit of an arse about the whole thing. The planet's also, as is quite typical in these situations, in fact something we see again arguably in, is it Justice, the one with the porn planet with Wesley getting executed? In that episode, it's a planet of people. They've got a sort of supreme energy being overlord, although in this case the energy being is some flashy lights on the screen, and notably I think as one of my kids pointed out, alright, it's flashy lights and a stationary image because that's really cheap to animate. And yes, it is. I think, was it Nichelle Nichols doing the voice of the alien? It sounded a bit like her. But yes, that's pretty much it. They get captured, they get recaptured. The difference is the primitives, rather than just being like some blokes in sort of whatever the costuming had from, the Land Before Time or something, it's sort of lizard people, which is quite fun. And was there some meta commentary in it as well? When they're in the sort of wooden cages, Kirk says, "Why do we always end up in this situation?" And it's almost like he's saying, how come we keep getting captured? Sort of a jab at the writer having a jab at writers. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I never really warmed to this one. Bem's an interesting concept, but we really actually don't explore it beyond him every so often popping like his legs off and having them run away. I think there could have been more done with that idea of, his punishment when he failed was going to be never to be that particular group together. And I think there's a lot more. I mean, it's a kid's cartoon, so I'm maybe asking a lot for us to go into a compound being and what it's like and some of the things around it. Do the different bits somebody's assemble into a different person and get sort of, that changes personalities and stuff like that. Is that the sort of thing they're talking about? Because, I was wondering if that's what they kind of meant when he said, this group will never be allowed to congregate again. And like I say, it makes for quite an interesting species. But we don't explore that. Instead, he's just a bit of an arsehole who makes the whole crew's lives difficult in what would have otherwise been a pretty straightforward mission. I don't find this one particularly enjoyable. Like I say, arguably Lower Decks has made this one more interesting just by including one of the species in an episode, so I suppose that's another plus for Lower Decks, but I would probably call this one same old guff in this situation. So all that remains to say is do keep up the good work. I'll look forward to the podcast and hope to be back in the next one, but until then, bye for now.
Bye! Now, Purry, same old guff, that Strange New Worlds rating system. You can't be using that.
Sorry, he comes up with different systems for everything.
Yeah, Bemmy's an absolute dick. I mean, so it's just a kid. And to be fair, they carry that on to Lower Decks as well. That apparently comes with the species. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, see also the apple in the original series for primitive race. In this case, not lizards, obviously, but guys with orange faces being controlled by a super powerful computer thingy.
Yeah. But do you think it's a jab at the writers? Why do we always end up being captured?
That seemed very meta, yes.
Yeah.
Purry's right. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Already we have like Trek cliches now, don't we? Self-referring.
And in terms of tagging the local population, it's interesting that it's, he says we don't take any risks, but these data collectors must be deployed. And it's like, I get that you want an exploratory mission, but if there's danger, you don't have to go and deploy. You can just...
Well, just think Next Generation, one episode and one film where they have those blind things, which are just, accidents waiting to happen.
Yeah, but at least they're just observing at that point with the blinds.
Yeah.
Whereas here...
Here, theoretically, it's even less dangerous because they're just sending down cameras, basically, just to watch.
Yeah, but they rock up with fucking phasers. There's no...
Actually, weirdly, they say they're going to beam down with phaser rifles, which they don't, but...
Yeah.
I was expecting to see it, and it was like, oh no, those are just phasers. But they could have beamed down the equipment, surely.
Yeah.
They didn't need to actually go down.
No.
But that's a more sensible route than what we get later on, which is these duck blind things that fail every time we see them.
Yeah, you don't understand why.
Because they're only dramatic if they're going wrong, like the holodeck.
And the thing as well is that with the duck blind situation or whatever, is like, surely you've got like things that can be recording what's going on without a person having to be there. The person
yeah,
could
the problem
be on
is
the
now I'm
space
just thinking of
audit.
Insurrection, and that's very depressing.
Oh, no, see, I was thinking of the one that has, I think it's Troy.
Yes, I think it's the Watchers.
Yeah, or Who Watches the Watchers.
Maybe, yeah. But
yeah,
that's
what I
a
was
much
thinking.
better one, but they take that idea into Insurrection and then ruin it with Data. Surprise. Anyway,
yes, let's not think about that one.
Thank you, Purry.
Thank you, Purry.
Even Lila says thank you, Purry. Right, next time, we are, as already mentioned, we'll be covering the episode The Practical Joker. So it's going to get worse in some ways, on the 23rd. But next week on the 16th, Babylorg 5 podcast will be covering The Long Dark.
Oh.
Ooh, yes. Still don't know what that is.
No.
Look forward to watching it.
Yep.
But until the next time, we're very sweatily talking into your ears. Ooh, kinky. Take care. Cheery bye.
Oh, yuck. Bye.
Theme for Star Trek The Animated Series was written by Ray Ellis and Norm Prescott.
Any music used in this podcast is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
We have a Facebook group which you're welcome to join.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Find us on Blue Sky at broadcastammo.bsky.social
and revorg.bsky.social.
Shut it down!